Brian Grimes, your real estate mentor, back with another action-packed session. Today, we're going to talk about the best real estate markets to invest in 2025 and beyond. If you've been thinking about where should I invest, what are the best markets, make sure you guys stay tapped in until we get to the end of this thing, because I'm going to break it all down for you. If you're new to the channel, like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment that says I subscribed. I'll share some free content with you for anybody who leaves that comment. A little bit of housekeeping. We have our next real estate ride along tour Saturday, August 16th. Tickets are already on sale. The last one sold out. And people are always like, Brian, do these things really sell out? You can ask any of the people who showed up to the last one. We were absolutely packed on the bus. Like, we couldn't fit even one more person. So make sure you reach out about that if you're interested, if you want to get that hands-on experience. We saw about 18, maybe 19 properties in different phases of full gut rehab. We saw buy and hold deals, Section 8 deals, buy and flip, co-living, kind of all of the stuff that we talk about here. You can come out and experience hands-on, and that will accelerate you from a development standpoint about a decade. If you want to tap into our 24/7 cash flow community, just get your hands on my decades plus worth of experience, my 400 plus deals now worth of experience. You can click the link in description or click the link in bio if you're on IG and tap into the 24/7 cash flow community. It's only $27 to join, just to keep out the tire kickers. We don't want people who aren't serious about real estate. But if you are serious, which you're here, so you're probably serious, make sure you tap in and become a part of the community. And then we have our boots on the ground program where we find, finance, rehab, tenant, and manage properties for our clients. We have very limited space. The demand has been insane to the point where we're going to have to launch the Baltimore market really soon just to keep up with demand. So make sure you reach out about that boots on the ground. Guys, we're going to keep tonight very tight because we have another 2-day boot camp training tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 to 9, and then Wednesday night. So we're doing another 2-day training where I'm going to break down literally everything you need to know to scale your own portfolio, no matter where you're at in the country. I'm going to show you step by step how to work your way out of the 9 to 5 in like lightning speed, like overnight. So if you're interested, make sure you tap into that. It's $7 to join the 2-day boot camp. Once again, to keep out the people who aren't serious. You guys have no idea how many people claim to be serious about real estate investing, but won't even put, $7 on their own knowledge. So, but for the people that are tapped in, we'll probably have about 100, maybe 150 people tapped into that tomorrow night and Wednesday. That's going to be action packed. Guys, let's get into this thing. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat section, drop them in the comment section, and we'll keep flowing. So the best markets to invest in for 2025 and beyond. How do you determine what a good market to invest in is? We're going to talk about some of those metrics tonight. So make sure you stick around and ask lots of questions. So the first thing you need to think about when deciding what market to invest in and what's the best market to invest in as a buy and hold real estate investor or a flipper, you need to think local versus out of state. That's kind of like the first category people get stuck in. One, there's backyard investing, and there are pros and cons to investing in your backyard, wherever you're at. And I work with investors from all across the country. What I found is in your backyard, you're going to find that your market is one of these types of markets. It's either going to be a buy and flip market, a buy and hold market, or both. I've never seen a market that was neither a buy and flip nor a buy and hold market. There are no markets like that where there are no deals. So if you're in a market and you're struggling to find deals, you may be like in California, but you want to be a cash flow investor. Well, you're in a flip market at best. You are not in a cash flow market. You're not in a landlord friendly market. So you would need to abandon backyard investing. A lot of us as new real estate investors think, I know I'm going to go invest in my backyard. That's got to be the way to get started. And it feels safe because you can reach out and touch the real estate, or so you think. But if you're still working a 9 to 5, the chance of you going and doing that Property Brothers thing where you're standing in the house and you're kind of building it and watching it and learning that way is still slim to none, because you're only going to get to that property on the weekends. Many weekends you're going to be too busy. You're not going to see the property. I have properties, in fact, that I do multiple states away that I see more than people who backyard invest. I see my properties every day, every other day through my systems that I'm going to kind of break down for you guys tonight. And systems will do more for you than location, believe it or not. So backyard investing, I would say, is overrated, especially today with today's technology, with the apps that are out today, with the systems that we'll talk about tonight. you shouldn't be overly concerned with your backyard. You just need to evaluate it. If you are in a buy and hold market and you can cash flow in your backyard, then stick with it and nest there and start there and then scale your way out of it. Because no matter what your market is, somebody said, what about Philly and Connecticut? I'll get into that question. No matter what your market is, it will dry up. So even Philadelphia is a top 10 market. You guys know I love Philly. I'm from Philly. It happens to be one of the best markets in the country, and it has been for many years, right? And it's I would say top 5 cash flow market. To me, it's number 1 for many reasons, which we'll get into tonight. Connecticut is another good buy and hold market that also has areas, because it's a big state. Some of the cities in Connecticut are good for buying and holding. Some of the cities are good for flipping. So you kind of have a mixture of the two. But regardless of that, of these being good places to flip or hold, they will dry up eventually. Every good market will have its day and it will have its run, and then it will go away. So if your only strategy is to invest in your backyard, you're going to become obsolete at some point. The good developers, from what I've seen and being in this game for a long time, they learn their certain markets. It could be their backyard, could be a state away, 2 states away, could be across the country. They master it, but ultimately they need to learn how to invest out of state, because once that market dries up, even if like Philly dries up on me, I'm just going to pack up and go to Baltimore and pack up and go to Cleveland and pack up. I'm going to go to the next most profitable market where I'm seeing some of the metrics that we'll talk about tonight. And that makes you more powerful. That means as the market's ebbing and flowing, you can just adjust and go find value. So it's going to make you better. Don't fall in love with your backyard is the moral of that story. When to go out of state. You want to go out of state when you're not seeing what you need, or you're seeing better opportunity elsewhere, or you're working on a tight budget. A lot of you are starting off and you don't have tons of cash, or you have certain issues, or you want to do creative financing. You need to go out of state when you learn how to analyze markets and you can see better opportunities elsewhere. Don't beat your head against the wall. And I'm saying this to a lot of you West Coasters. I'm also seeing people like the 24/7 Cash Flow University. We're really international now. We have a lot of students who are from Canada, from outside of the country, from Nigeria, from the UK. We have a lot of people who are in markets where real estate investing in general is just difficult because of the mortgages that they have available to them, the interest rates that they have in their countries. You have to go out of state once you're just not feeling it and you're not seeing opportunities, or you're starting to get priced out of your market. You could be in a good market, but just not have the capital. So go out of state when you're seeing better opportunities and just learn how to do it in a profitable way. Angie's on Instagram says, yes, this is my case. I live in New York and it's too expensive to get cash flow here. You also have bad landlord tenant laws in New York. So you want to go out of state, and you just need to learn where to go and how to do it effectively. And that's what I'm going to talk to you guys about tonight. Another thing you want to focus on when you think about local versus out of state is building a boots on the ground team. You guys know we have the Boots on the Ground program, which is my boots on the ground team that I'm tapping you guys directly into. I built literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of houses with these guys, and I've opened it up to you guys. But building your boots on the ground team is not that difficult. Here's a major hack that many people will never tell you, but I'm going to tell you guys for free, because you guys know I love to give you guys value. People ask me, well, Brian, how do I find good contractors? Where do you find contractors? Do you go to Home Depot? Do you go to Angie's List? Well, let's think about it logically. Who works with contractors? Who works with not only contractors, but good contractors? Well, architects, engineers, people who do plans and interface with contractors. Like an architect is doing the plans for the contractor. So if I want to find a good contractor in Arkansas, even having not stepped foot in Arkansas, I'll pick up the phone and start calling all the local architects and engineers in Arkansas and say, hey, who do you guys work with? And aren't they incentivized to tell me who they work with and get me in front of them? Because if I end up working with that contractor, guess who's going to get the plans and get the business from that contractor? The same architect, the same engineer. So what you need to do is start to tap into the existing ecosystems that are out of state, and then build your base around that. You can build your base around that by also getting freelancers, young guys who are at the local colleges who want to work for beer money and go around with their smartphone and shoot videos for you and connect with the realtors and the wholesaler. So it's very easy to build a boots on the ground team when you've done it before. It becomes like riding a bike. That's why I tell you guys, you can drop me out of a parachute in any state in America and I can build a team in 30 days or less. because I know where to go to build the team. I don't need to know the team. I need to know where to go to build the team. And I know where to go, and I can teach you where to go and how to do it. So I know people are getting that. Somebody, Mama Micah said, smart man. So it sounds like that's kind of resonating with you, and you're kind of understanding what I'm saying. And then the power of systems. This is a major key. Simple systems don't break at scale. You do not need complex systems to be a successful real estate investor. The best real estate investors who invest out of state and have some of these boots on the ground systems have the simplest systems you've ever seen. Very simple. Keep it simple, stupid. It's the KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid. Because if you make it complex, it's going to break. If you have too many hands in the pot, too many, not enough, too many Indians, not enough chiefs, right? It's going to break. You have too many people just kind of putting their hands into your systems, or you have too many chains of command, your systems will fail. So I will create very simple systems. It's just a basic system. Go here, shoot this video, post it here, and then some type of fail safe to make sure if something falls through the cracks, it gets caught with a secondary system. That's how most of my systems are built. A simple system and then a fail safe. And if you have that, you will typically be a successful out-of-state investor. All you need is visibility. You need the physical representation of you that is in whatever state you want to invest in. And that could, like I said, be some college kid with a smartphone. They don't need to have a huge brain. You can be the brain, the air traffic control behind the scenes, directing that traffic. But trust me, if you do this, and if you learn some of the systems that we implement, you can have similar results, because there's nothing special about the systems. In fact, they're so simple. I would say almost anybody can pick it up and run with it. Guys, if you're getting value, like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment that says I subscribed, share the content with somebody who you want to get value. We're about to get into the 5 C's. Once again, if you want to just kind of pick my brain, get all the knowledge that I have, that I've gone through, and I've gone through, ups and downs, trials and tribulations, all of my pain, all of my wins, and all of my losses are in the content, are in the course content. You can tap in for $27. Click the link in the description. Click the link in bio. If you're on YouTube, click the link in the description. If you're on IG, click the link in bio. But you can get access to literally millions of dollars worth of game for $27. It's your loss. I'm not going to chase you. Somebody tried to get me to like chase them down to push them into the course, convince me that this, and I was like, bro, you can keep it plugging. Like, I don't need to convince you. It's your loss. I've already gone through the pain. If you're like a glutton for pain, then go learn from the School of Hard Knocks. Go get ripped for 50 grand by a GC, by a rogue contractor. Go run out and learn. Like I had to learn. I had to learn that way. You don't. You're lucky. I wasn't, right? But that knowledge is all there. It's all available for you. So if you're a smart person, you'll tap in. If not, the not smart people tend to like to learn from the School of Hard Knocks. They think they can. I found that the people who think they're really smart, they think they're too cool for school. And you're never too cool for the School of Hard Knocks, but they think they're the one. They're Neo. They're the chosen one who's not going to get burned, because they're so smart in their white collar business that they can transition it into the blue collar real estate development field. And they're just going to not have any issues. And they're the people who get burned the worst. They're the people who get ripped for $250,000 on their first deal. Don't be one of those people. Learn on the cheap, and you'll scale faster. Save all that money and just put it in the deals. Your family will thank you. Your kids will thank you. Let's get into the 5 C's. And once again, if you guys are interested in that real estate ride along tour, the next one, Saturday, August 16th, don't hit me up 1 week before the ride along. Like, hey, Brian, you got any seats? No, we don't have any seats. This thing will sell out faster than the last one. So make sure you guys tap in. The 5 C's, you want to focus on the 5 C's with your real estate market. The first one is cash flow. Does your market have cash flow? I typically want to be in a cash flow market, even if I'm a flipper, because my favorite deals to flip are the ones that I can cash flow as well. What if the property doesn't sell, Brian? What if the market gets tight and it doesn't flip? Well, you want to be in a cash flow market where there's high rental demand. We'll talk about on the last section what those markets look like and what the metrics are. But you want to have the ability to Section 8, to do co-living, to rent to own. You want to be in a market that cash flows. These cash flow markets typically have lower purchase prices, lower property taxes, high rents. If they have high rents, that means if you go to rent to own, you can get an even higher premium. So it gives you more options. So cash flow is king, even if you're looking to be a flipper. The cash flow will protect you. You always need multiple exit strategies. Two is the cost of entry. So I'm looking for, if I'm on a budget, I need to be in an affordable city. And it's very easy to do that research. Go Google Zillow's top 10 cities, the most affordable cities to invest in real estate. Go on Google, go on Chat GPT, build out your own list. The cost of entry is going to be a derivative of the purchase price, the average sales price. You'll know an expensive market versus a well-balanced market based upon the multiple of the area or average median income, the AMI, the average or area median income. So a affordable market is 6x or less. So that means that the average American makes about 50,000, and your starter homes, your 3-bed, 1-bath are selling for 300K or less. That's a well-balanced market. That's a market I want to be in. If I'm in California and the average starter home is 1.5 million and the average person is making 80K or 70K in that area, then we're at like a 15x. That's a bubble. Once you get beyond 10x of the AMI, you're in a bubble. Parts of California are 20x. So they're in super bubbles. They're going to correct. So I'm looking for cost of entry, especially if I'm just getting started, if I'm working on a budget. You need to look at that, see the cost of entry on average. Consistency. I want to make sure that there's consistent deal flow within the market that I'm investing in. So not only do I want to be consistent in my efforts, I want to scan the market daily. I want to look for opportunities daily, but I want to make sure that there's consistent deal flow. There are wholesalers out there moving and shaking, sending deals on average multiple times per week. There are deals hitting the MLS constantly. They have auctions and off-market properties. There's foreclosures. I want to look for consistency of deal flow, because a market with deals and good metrics is a great market to nest in. That's how you can hit your goals. A lot of you guys want to do, Brian, I want to do 20, 30 deals in a year. I want to get to, $15,000 a month or $20,000 a month in cash flow. You can't do that in an inconsistent market. I was talking to somebody, they were like in like Oklahoma or something, like a market like that. And they were just like, there's no deals here. Like some of the deals that are here are nice, but they're inconsistent. There's no deal flow. So definitely look for that. Control. I want to have some measure of control over the market and what my exit strategies are. I want to be able to control my deal. You can only have control over your deals in a market that has multiple exit strategies. This is why I'm looking for markets, and I'll reveal some of the markets that meet these standards in the last section. But I want to have some control over exit opportunities. I want to be able to get out of deals. And you can only have that in the mixed markets. So I'm typically looking for markets where I can buy and flip and buy and hold. Even though I told you guys in the beginning, there are markets that are purely flip markets and some markets that are purely hold markets. I don't necessarily want to be there. I want to be in the markets where I can do both, because it gives me more control over the outcome of the deal. So focus on control and then creative opportunities. I want to be in markets where there are lots of motivated sellers. These are typically in your inner cities, where a lot of these inner cities were built in 1910, 1915. All the properties are 100 years old. They're falling down. They're dilapidated. They're going up for a tax sale. There's people going into foreclosure. There's just a high volume of deals, and they're going to create a lot of opportunities for creative financing. So if you're looking for ways to invest without cash or credit, you want to be in a high volume market where there are lots of people moving in, moving out, and it's going to give you a lot of creative opportunities to get started without using your own cash or credit. So I'm looking at those 5 C's when I'm looking for good markets and good opportunities. Guys, if you're getting value, like, comment, subscribe, share the content with someone else who you want to give value and you want to get value. And you should be sharing this with people in your circle. You need to make your circle stronger so that you get stronger. One of the reasons that I accelerated quickly in this game is because my circle, the people who are closest to me, my best friend, my brother, like the people I talk to all the time, started falling in love with real estate as well. So all we would talk about is real estate. And when you do that with your circle, you make them stronger. You build their education. They give you little tips and help you to accelerate. And that pushes you further. For a lot of you, you guys don't have good circles. You don't have people you can talk to about real estate. Many of you tap in, like if I miss a Monday night session, people are like, man, what happened? Because this is their circle. And I'm happy to be the circle. And we have the 24/7 cash flow community, which is an even tighter circle of people who are extremely serious about getting this done, and who will lean in and help you at unbelievable levels. What I've seen in our community, how people have kind of dove in and helped each other with deals. There's private lenders, there's architects, engineers. I saw 3 contractors joined our 24/7 cash flow community today, contractors from across the country who are like, yeah, I'm ready to learn the money side of the business. So there's so many people in this community that you can increase the value of your circle by joining communities, by joining real estate communities, and then networking within them. But you want to improve your circle. You have to get them involved and make it so that everybody you talk to, you just spend more time around the real estate and you will accelerate a lot faster. But definitely share that content if you're getting value. And if you want to tap into our community, click the link in the description, click the link in bio, and tap in. So what are the best markets? My favorite markets, I always like to focus on some of the top 10 markets. I would say Google Zillow's top 10. You'll see Philly, you'll see Baltimore, you'll see Cleveland and Columbus. You might see Detroit, even though I'm not that bullish on Detroit because they're more probably buy and hold than even flip opportunities there. And I think it's a little bit further behind some other markets. But there are some other things that I look for. I look for macro trends. I want to see how many people are moving in to this city year over year. Do we have more people moving in or moving out of this place? So you'll see like California, there's probably more people moving out of California right now. So that would be a net negative to me for a macro trend. I don't want to be buying in a place where people are fleeing. That's a bad macro trend that I want to avoid. I want to see net in migration. People are moving here. They're moving here for a reason because there are better landlord tenant laws. There are good taxes here. The taxes are lower here than other areas. There are jobs here. That's a big macro trend. Is Amazon coming? Are they opening factories? Do they have lots of colleges? Do they have lots of universities where lots of students are coming and then they graduate and they want to live close by and keep hanging out with their friends? And then they start working locally and creating a workforce environment. You need to focus on your macro trends when you're making your decision on what markets you want to invest in, because you need a philosophy. You shouldn't just be following people blindly, including me. You don't need to follow me blindly. And nor is my mentorship program or what I preach about any of you following me blindly. What I preach is being a free thinking investor and me educating you to the point where you understand what metrics you need to measure to be free thinking and to develop your own philosophy that you can stand behind. Then you don't need to watch the news and deal with all this drama. You can just have your philosophy, your belief system, and you can go test it, get results, and then you become unshakable. You become someone who can navigate markets effortlessly. And that's what I want for you guys. My goal for you guys is for you all to be able to go out and do 100 deals, if that's what you want to do. Some of you don't want to do that many, but for those who do, I want to equip you with the knowledge so that you can go out and do that and put food on the table for you and your family, create jobs. You'll make $1 million yourself, but you're going to create a lot of jobs for other people, and you're going to help other people to put food on the table. It's part of being that ecosystem and kind of creating these win-win-win scenarios. And that's what we want. Sister cities. I believe in sister cities. I'm giving you guys some of my philosophy. So I look at New York. New York is very expensive. It's the city of the world. People get priced out of New York. Where do they go? They go to Philly. Why? Because they don't like Boston. Why? Because, the Sox, the Yankees, they don't like it. They don't like, freaking Tom Brady. And, there's like a lot of tension. So they tend to move to Philly. Philly is a more affordable city. Philly is close. It's an hour and a half away. It's the 6th largest city in America. It has all these things going for it. So I'm looking at sister cities. The same thing with Baltimore. People are in DC. DC is very expensive. They get priced out of DC. Where do they go? Baltimore or close thereby. And then still on those train lines where they can get into DC to the high paying jobs quickly. So I'm looking at these types of metrics. I want to invest in sister cities because the macro trends show people are moving out of the more expensive cities into the sister cities. So I'm looking for that. So you have to have some of these philosophies behind you and they will help you. I want to focus on landlord tenant laws and squatter laws now. Pennsylvania just passed a new squatters rights law in, I want to say September of 2024. I don't even think the cops know about it. I'm kind of in part educating people about this stuff. Even the cops, like, hey, this actually got passed by Governor Shapiro. You guys don't even know. And the squatter laws haven't changed since 1955. In many places, some of the squatter laws go way back. Illinois, I think 2 days ago, Chicago, they just changed their squatter laws. They'll arrest you if you try to break in and squat in a property now. That just changed like 2 days ago. So there's a wave going around the country of updates to squatter laws. Georgia, Atlanta, they'll arrest you now if you break into a property. You have no tenant or ownership rights as a squatter anymore in Atlanta, in Illinois. They'll arrest you. It's an arrestable offense. You're a trespasser now. And that just happened recently. So following these landlord tenant laws, these squatter laws, how are they being enforced? How are they being changed over the course of time? This is very important. This is becoming extremely important when you're making your investment decisions. So not only the cash flow and those other metrics, but things like this, very important. So I want to look at that and make sure that I'm on board with that, or I'm seeing good trends and what's going there. Developer spreads. Not enough people talk about developer spreads. Developer spreads is one of the most important concepts to understand as a real estate investor. What a developer spread means is, can I buy properties for 50K and then put money into them and then they're worth like 225 to 250? If I can do that, there's a spread there. There's a developer spread there between what I can buy for and what the after repair value is. You can only make money as a real estate investor in markets that have good developer spreads. This is why I might not want to be in Cleveland right now, because I can buy the property for 50K, but it's only worth 125. That only gives me $75,000 of a spread to rehab this property. Guess what? If the property is 2,000 square feet and it was built 80 years ago, and every investor who owned that property before has just done deferred maintenance, just push it into the future. Now you're coming in 2025 to buy this property that hasn't been rehabbed since 1982. Literally, it's got knob and tube wiring. It's got lead in it. And a gut renovation costs $80 a square foot everywhere in the country, because the materials ain't coming from your state. The lumber's coming from Canada. The kitchen's coming from China. The plumbing's coming from China, right? These materials are coming in from other countries here, which means the cost of the materials are the same across the country. Only the cost of labor is changing, but it ain't changing that much. So if the cost is the cost, and I only have 75K to do a 2,000 square foot property that needs really 120,000, then I have to cut corners. Now I have a rental property that's constantly breaking, and I can't put the money it needs in it because there's not a developer spread. So I'm not there. I'd rather spend more money or go in a slightly more expensive market like Philly, where there's a developer spread where I can build quality properties. Because what you don't want to do is build a 20 property portfolio that becomes a headache and a nightmare because you had to cut corners. Yeah, you'll go real fast, but it's going to turn on you. It's going to turn on you. I already know, but you might not know if you're just getting started. I'm warning you. You need developer spread. You need to be able to do a good rehab. Guess when's the best time to rehab a property? Before a tenant's in it. Have you ever tried to rehab a property with someone living in it? It's a nightmare. Try coordinating your contractors with somebody's cat. Now, my cat's sick today, and I'm trying to get, I'm trying to get 10 guys in here. Getting my guys coordinated is like herding cats. Now I got to deal with your dog, your cat. You didn't lock the dog up in the back room. We got to come back tomorrow. I'm like, gee, you're losing money and things are constantly breaking. You're bleeding your cash flow back into the property. Developer spreads. I could spend more time on developer spreads, but we don't have more time. And if you want more, definitely tap into the boot camp. We'll be talking about that a bit more, and we'll be going deeper into a lot of this stuff. Other metrics, like I said, the important metrics of, especially for cash flow, we'll talk about cash flow. Important metrics are low prices. I want low entry prices when I'm cash flowing. I want high ARVs. So I want that big spread, and I want low property taxes. You can Google, or you can chat GPT, which is super Google, which cities have the lowest property taxes, or the lowest average property taxes, or the lowest dollar amount property tax, because there could be a high property tax percentage, but because the properties sell for so low, The dollar amount of the tax is actually lower than a state or city that has a lower percentage property tax but higher sales values. So you have to get into the metrics there. And then high rents. High rents. Baltimore is a really cool city because you can buy really cheap properties. Damn, the rent's almost as high as it is in Philly. But the cost of the property is really cheap. It's cheaper. So that's a slightly better spread there. But there are other metrics, like, is it developer friendly? I'm looking at that. How quickly can I get my permits? How annoying is the city to deal with? What's the call? Are they constantly fining people for, like, oh, the grass is 6 inches, we're going to fine you $50? What metrics am I dealing with in actually building properties and scaling a portfolio? Because I want the weather, I want the setup to be just right. Like, it has to be fertile ground, essentially. If you're going to go and scale your portfolio, you don't want to scale a portfolio into a headache city where it's a nightmare to be a developer, because the people who are in power are like anti-developer, even though their city's going to hell in a handbasket and they have blight everywhere. Somebody at the top decides, we shouldn't be giving any incentives to developers. We should tax them and do it. Okay. And now they won't build there. You make it hard for developers to build, they won't build. You also want to build in cities where other developers know it's developer friendly, because more developers will be there. And developers are your friend. This is abundance mindset, guys, not scarcity. I don't want to be in a city where there are no other investors. That's foolish. I want to be a shark in a city where there are lots of investors. I just want to be powerful and stronger than the average bear, because I want people building around me. There's nothing better. I promise you, no better feeling than when you build a nice rental property and then you show up one day and somebody's pouring $250,000 into the property next door. And you're like, damn, I didn't even have to put a dime into that thing. And they're driving up my property values. They're driving up my portfolio values. No better feeling in the world. No better feeling in the world. It deserves a God bless America. It gets a God bless America from me every time. They just poured $250,000 in. Oh, no, there's another guy across the street. Fantastic. The market's going up. The rents are going up. And you're going to make more cash flow. Your ARV is going to go up. That's a refinance opportunity for you to cash out refi into lower rates as rates fall. So you have to look at these other metrics. Guys, that's pretty much it. That's what I want you guys thinking about in terms of the best markets to invest in for 2025 and beyond. I've given you some of my favorite markets. I've given you some markets that I think, while they are on the top 10 list or the top 5 list, they're not necessarily on my list because they don't meet my criteria for the reasons that I've laid out. Maybe the macro trends, maybe they're not sister cities. They don't have landlord tenant laws that I like or developer spreads that I like. And therefore, they don't have many of the 5 C's. You guys have to get out of your backyard investing mentality if you want to win. I don't care that your market sucks, quite frankly. Just being able to identify that your backyard sucks, that's half of the battle. Now you need to do something about it. You need to pack up. You need to learn how to go out of state. You need to start building your boots on the ground teams, or tapping into an existing boots on the ground team in a market that is profitable, that does meet these types of metrics. That's how you can win. That's why we have a boots on the ground program where we can just take you into these markets. K. Peter said, what are your top 10 markets now? I don't have top 10 markets right now. I have like 2. I usually have a top 2. Why do I have a top 2? I usually have a top 1. And I'm usually predominantly in that one market, and then sprinkling some activity into that secondary market. Because if I thought the secondary market was better than the primary, I'd be in that market, and then sprinkling into the primary. And I'm waiting for my primary market to dry out. Real estate investing, the best investors in general, doesn't even have to be real estate. It's about low-hanging fruit. Why would I climb a tree to get a coconut when I can walk over and pluck an orange? And I don't have to do anything. I'm not even burning calories. I'll watch you climb the tree. Good luck. I'll watch you fall and bump your head too. I'm just going to keep plucking the low-hanging fruit until it dries up. And then when it dries up, I'll pack up and go to the next city with low-hanging fruit. And you can keep climbing trees and falling and bumping your head. So I would even narrow it down. You can't hit what you can't see. You can't hit what you can't see. And if there are 10 markets, you're looking all over the place. It's like fighting, getting a UFC 1 versus 10. Who do you hit first? There's 10 guys running at you. It's too much. Narrow that thing down to 1 or 2 people. I'm going to punch this guy. I'm going to kick that guy in the leg. Like, I can hit 2. 10 is too much. So I have a top 2. There are a top 10 though. Go Google Zillow's top 10 and go look at that and see if there are any markets that meet your philosophy and your metrics. If you don't have a philosophy yet because you don't know how to uncover metrics that you identify with, then you need to educate yourself to the point where you can identify markets. And we're going to talk about how to identify markets from a data-driven standpoint on the 2-day boot camp. So for my people who are tapped in on a $7 boot camp, we're going to walk you through that process. I did it on the last boot camp and people loved it. People are still talking to me about it, how powerful it was for them. So I'm going to do it again. And that's like live screen share. I walk you guys, everything I show you guys, I do. That's how I know it works, because I do it and I've been doing it for over a decade and it still works. It worked a decade ago. It still works. And it's going to work a decade from now because it's a simple system and it's logical. It makes sense. And it identifies value. It's very simple at the end of the day. So it doesn't break. It doesn't break at time. And in fact, it doesn't break at scale, and it withstands the test of time. But that's what I would say is try to pick 1 or 2 markets, preferably 1. Only identify 2 for comparative purposes so that you can put one versus the other and see which one is the best. And then get in the best market. If you like some aspects of the secondary market, you may sprinkle a little value over there, but you're certainly not going to try to dominate it, because you have to have such a conviction that this is the best market and that other people can probably see that this is the best market, that you're going to want to be all in on it before it dries up. Hopefully that helps. But that's kind of how I'm thinking there. Albany, Georgia, Connecticut, Texas, and NYC, but look outside of the city. Yeah, look outside of the city for sure. Michael says, always great information. Thanks, Brian. Pat says, I've done some rows, but the staffing is stressing me, which is residential assisted living facilities. I'm looking to get into flips or rentals. Yeah, residential assisted living facilities are tough. There's a lot of people running around talking about them. And look, you can make a lot of money if you knock it out of the park. I mean, you can make $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 from one building. But every strategy, this is what I tell you guys, and why we teach you multiple strategies. We teach you at least 6 core strategies within the 24/7 cash flow community and within our course content, because you need to be able to pivot and navigate. But every strategy has pros and cons. There's lots of talking head gurus out there that are like, you got to do my strategy. Residential assisted living beats everything. No. Co-living beats everything. No. Section 8 beats everything. No. Airbnb beats everything. It's all a lie. Nothing beats everything. There's pros and cons. There's markets where it works better than others. There's market conditions where it's good, and then they can become unfavorable. That's why you can't just go with one strategy. It can be a great hot strategy. Airbnb is popping. Well, guess what? They just banned it in Austin. You're screwed. You scaled your whole portfolio, and then they just voted it out of the city. Now you're screwed, and you have no other ability to cash flow because you don't know anything. You only learned one strategy. So you need to learn multiple strategies so that you can navigate. Wade God Todd, would you recommend going out of state for first-time investors if your market sucks? Yes. And in fact, I've seen a lot of out-of-state investors have, a lot of success. I was dealing with one group. It was a husband and wife. They were they were like down south. I don't want to get this wrong. They were down south. I can't think of I want to say like Louisiana, right? And during this time, there were lots more hurricanes hitting, and the insurance premiums went up 300% on them overnight, like from a year to year. And they were like, Brian, the insurance premiums just killed the cash. There's no cash flow here anymore. Prices went up, and then insurance premiums went up, and it killed everything. And they couldn't get a deal. They were looking for a year. They then came to me, Brian, we've been looking, it's not working. We're going to go out of state. I showed them how to do a deal in Cleveland. They ended up getting a duplex in Cleveland that was in reasonable condition, about 80, 90K. They put down, 10, 20%, and they started cash flowing, $1,000 a month off of this thing. And it was fantastic. And they got results in like 3 months while they had been, beating their head against a wall for several years. So going out of state can definitely help you. to get results very quickly if you're in a bad market. The only thing benefit of being in a bad market is knowing what not to do. You look at it, hey, I'm in a crap market. I better get out of here. The end. Now it's how do I get out of here most efficiently while making the least amount of mistakes. That's going to learn from somebody who's been an out-of-state investor for many years and made lots of mistakes. I'm not valuable to you guys because I'm successful, because I've succeeded. I'm valuable to you guys because I survived. This is a game of attrition. It's because I've survived many painful experiences, and I'm here to educate you on what not to do and how to do things more efficiently and faster and better than I did, because you have more knowledge. You can benefit from all of my knowledge and my mistakes. My mistakes are arguably more valuable than any wins, because you just learn so much more through the pain. Pain is a great teacher, but it's not the teacher that you would prefer to choose if there's another way. It is an efficient teacher though, but I'm probably a better teacher because I can convey the pain. But I would go out of state for sure. If your market sucks, go out of state. Pat said, let's go. I'm ready to follow you. How do I sign up for the boot camp? You'd have to reach out. I don't even have a link because they're like ads. Go on my Instagram, Brian Grimes _247 CFU, and just like a video or something. You'll probably start getting hit with the algorithm. They'll get some ads in front of you, and just tap in or reach out, DM me, and I'll figure out how to get you a sign up link for the boot camp. But the boot camp is kicking off, so definitely reach out or shoot me an email, shoot me a text, however you got here, and or leave a comment that says boot camp, and I'll have my team reach out. And definitely tap into that boot camp though if you guys are serious. If you're not serious, don't tap in. You just better go watch a basketball game or something. But if you are serious, definitely tap in. What about Vermont? Vermont is probably more of a flipper type of area than a hold area. It's a very expensive market, extremely expensive, but a good market. I would say you can definitely flip there. You can definitely do some good stuff. So I don't think there's going to be any issues in Vermont if you want to flip, but you're not going to hold in Vermont, and you're not going to cash flow very much, not consistently. Even if you could get one deal, there's that C, the consistency. Can you consistently get deals? Because if you can't consistently get deals, what's the point of building a system there? So you build a system in Vermont, and I build a system in a city that I can scale in, that has consistency, and I can do 100 deals in. So, and then we break apart. We come back together 5 years later. Who has more deals? Me, naturally. Why? Because my market has consistency and more opportunities, and yours doesn't. Even if we had the same money and the same everything, same lenders, same money, same everything, same teams, we just have more at-bats than you. We're going to hit more home runs. The end. So you don't want to waste your time in a market that is not going to provide you what you need. Somebody on IG said Vermont is more vacation homes. Yeah, vacation homes, flipping, definitely vacation homes, definitely Airbnbs. There's going to be some strategies there, but that's all risky. It's all risky to have Airbnb as your only exit strategy because you can't replicate it in terms of cash creation. So with the Airbnb strategy, people will typically overpay for properties thinking I can cover it with Airbnb. But then what happens when you can't? You go underwater on multiple properties that you can't keep up with the mortgages. Then you lose them. They turn against you. You've been warned. That's all. That's all I can say. You're right. I'm from Chicago and started in Cleveland, Ohio. So Rich Brown is a testament to somebody who is in one city and then investing in another to get the start. Here's the other thing. A deal's a deal's a deal. If you do a deal out of state, you're going to learn a lot that you could even apply in your backyard better. It might make you better and give you a core competency that is higher that allows you to compete in a highly competitive market like your backyard if you're constantly being boxed out and outpriced. So going out of state into a state where there's more volume may allow you more at-bats to get more experience faster, to then scale closer to home in more competitive markets. Robin Ransom says, got it, makes sense. Michael says, what are your thoughts on the market in Seattle and surrounding areas? A lot of people in Seattle, like they're leaning heavily into the ADUs. They're like, we got to do ADUs. Everybody in Seattle who's thereabout or West Coast and is a talking head guru or considers themselves like expert investor, they're talking about ADUs. You got to buy the house, blow it up, build from the ground up, and then build ADUs, or buy the house, build the ADU, and because you have to, that's the only way to unlock the value. The market is so tight and overpriced and in bubble territory that you have to now unlock value only through the ADU. Primarily, we'll say, not only, but primarily. So you're going to hear a lot of ADU talk. Everything's about ground up ADU, and it's all great and it's all fantastic, but they're not going to talk about how when you're doing a ground up deal and you're exposed to a 12 to 16 month timeline and there are trade wars and tariff wars, and Trump wakes up and he's like 60% on, and you're like, whoa, and it blows your budget. It knocks your socks off. They're not talking about that. I like to be in those markets where we can just make money off the existing structure, running rehabs. In fact, we were in many projects on Saturday, like days ago, in today's market, many properties where there were people who bought. The fun part about our real estate ride along tour is you're going to go to the tour and you're going to stand in the property and be like, wow, this property is amazing. This thing's a cash cow. And the guy who owns it, who's also a boots on the ground member, is going to be standing right next to you saying, thank you. This is my house. And that happened many times on this tour. And some of these properties, the owner could attest, yeah, we just closed this deal. They built this house. Clearly, you're looking at it. It'll be done in 2 weeks. And we started this project 6 weeks ago. Some of these rehabs can go in 8 weeks. When you can move that fast, 8 weeks versus 18 months, your exposure to market conditions is substantially reduced. When you are dealing with an existing structure where you don't have to fully reframe a house from the ground up, even your exposure to market conditions like increasing lumber cost is reduced because you need substantially less lumber. You need 1/10 of the lumber. So you have to think about all of these things. But that's what you're seeing on the West Coast in general is flips and then ADU strategies. If you're trying to unlock cash flow, then you have to build like a whole nother house. This Jose says, so you're confident as a Black person of color that we can generate revenue from places like Vermont. I live in Boston. I don't know what being Black or a person of color matters, or a man or a woman matters at all. So I have no confidence as a Black person or a person of color or anything, or as a man, or as a Philly kid, or as a guy who's 6'7", or as a guy who would be 5'2". I wouldn't add that to my confidence. What I would say is you can make money in almost any market with the right strategy and with a good team and good systems and the right knowledge. So I have confidence because of knowledge, teams, systems, and experience. I trust the numbers because the numbers don't lie. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. So as you learn the numbers and the metrics a little bit better, you will gain confidence naturally. Confidence is a byproduct of experience and then kind of muscle building. So it's like I was spotting a guy. I'm in the gym, and a guy asked me to spot him on the bench. He's got 245 plates on each side. And I'm like, you need me to help you like get the bar off? No, I got it, buddy. And I'm like, all right, let's see what this guy goes for. I mean, he didn't get one. The plate, I mean, the bar dropped to his chest and he was cooked. I was like, damn, bro, you should have told me. But you need to build confidence. Now, if you go in a gym and you kind of work your way up, you're going to build confidence even with that weight. Like that guy's not confident with that weight. I helped him to get that thing racked and he just ran off. He didn't even wipe the bench down. He was embarrassed. He has no confidence right now in that weight. But as he continues to bench 185, then 195, then he's going to start repping out 205. And he's going to be like, my confidence is up. I'm ready for that 225. You have to build your confidence through repetitions. You know what builds confidence? Being able to do your reps on comps, being able to pull comps and know your ARVs. Yeah, I know this thing. It's a 3-bed, 1-bath, 1,200 square feet. These 3 ones all around it sold for 225 within the last 3 months, and I'm confident on that. I stand on that. I'll curse out an appraiser on that one. That's confidence in real estate. So it has nothing to do with who you are. And I'm saying that to you guys because I want you guys to really understand and feel that. I don't care. I've taught a kid 19 years old how to do this. He made 25K and bought a duplex. And this kid will be a millionaire. If I have anything to do with it, he'll be a millionaire by 25. And he's well on his way. I don't care. And he's a young black kid who didn't even go to college. I don't care about any of that. I've helped young women, older women to do deals, to build confidence, and to tap into systems. I don't care about that. There ain't no, oh, you're a woman, you can't do this. You can do it. There ain't no, you ain't go to college, you can't do this. You can do it. There ain't no, oh, you're too old, you can do it. Or you're too young, you can do it. You just haven't built your confidence yet because you're not focused on the fundamentals. You're focused on the wrong things that don't matter, like the news. Like somebody's, oh, this is a bad time to buy the market. Guess who paid for that? The hedge fund that's buying all the single family properties in your neighborhood that just bought 1/9 of Atlanta and made it no longer a predominantly black city. That's who's putting out the news, shaking your confidence. And you're so worried about that. You're not focused on how to pull comps and how to connect with wholesalers and how to do things that actually build confidence and get results. So you can do it no matter who you are, where you come from. Many of you are, even in your feeling broke, you have much more money than I had when I started off. And you're making way more than I made when I was starting off. Many of you think you have a low credit score. I had a lower credit score than you when I started. I got laughed out of the bank. I got laughed out of the mortgage broker's office. Seriously, though. Yeah, I've been getting so many DMs on you know what you should do on if Pat, if you're on my IG, comment on one of my videos. If you watch one of the videos, it'll say like, hey, comment this, comment that, comment. And then when you comment, it'll send you a response. My IG will send you a response, and then you'll be able to DM me. So just DM me or drop that comment. But you guys can do this. Don't let any of these things that are in your mind, imaginary problems. You know what's so scary about them is they're not real. You can't solve an imaginary problem. It ain't real. You can only solve a real problem. When it's in reality, physical reality, you can take actions against it. When it's imaginary, it just floats around there. You can't touch it. You can't impact it. It doesn't exist. But don't let those things hold you guys back. These belief systems. I'm here to destroy them because they're lies. They're lies, nonsense, hogwash. And in fact, they don't do anything. Your belief in these belief systems have nothing to do with you pulling comps and understanding what a comp is. And I know that a lot of people come to me with their belief systems. Well, bro, don't you just think this market's a little tough and you just get, do you know how to pull a comps? If I give you this address, can you tell me beyond a reasonable doubt what this thing is worth in 5 minutes or less? It would only take me 2 minutes. I'm giving you 5. I can run the mile in 6 minutes. I'm giving you 12. Can you do it? If not, then stop coming to me with this nonsense, with this scary business. Can we focus on the things that matter? And you'll be surprised how all these other things go out the window, how they lose their value. I'm not picking on you, Jose. I'm just using it as an example because you're speaking the truth. You're speaking what holds us back. You're speaking it. Which city is better for, sorry to go on these rants, guys, but I sometimes I'm compelled to. Which city is better for you for new investors, North Carolina or Cincinnati? That's a toughie because I have some guys in North Carolina. We have some straight up killers in North Carolina. I'm going to answer that question too, Mackenzie. We have some straight up killers in North Carolina who are doing lots of deals, and there's good cash flow there, and there's good flip opportunities there. North Carolina is actually a both type of market. They're like a both type of market. Pat, I see your DM. I do have I do work with my people my people know when you join our mentorship, you're meeting with me one-on-one. You have, aspects of one-on-one coaching directly with me, and we build a lot of support. I build a whole team of support around you. This is not just some videos. But if you want access to like the course content, tap into the 24/7 cash flow community. But I'm here to really pull you guys to the next level. In order to coach somebody properly in real estate, it has to be there. It has to be one-on-one. I'm gonna say it. It has to be. There has to be a one-on-one aspect because everybody's individual. Everybody's unique with their issues. There are similar issues, but everyone's unique in a sense in their motivations. Everybody has like a story and what drives them. And you almost need to find what's their motivation, what's driving you, and what's your belief system, and how can we take what's driving you and your belief system and pull that and mend that together into the real estate, because real estate is the most beautiful asset class because you can design it around your lifestyle and who you are. You can build it around you. It's moldable in that sense. So you need somebody who has vision, who can help you to mold it around you. Because once that happens, you fall in love with it. And if you fall in love with it, it's curtains. It's done. It's a foregone conclusion. But North Carolina versus Cincinnati is probably easier to cash flow, in my opinion, than North Carolina. I have a guy from Cincinnati who flips in Cincinnati, and that's all he does. But he does it still in a cash flow type of way. He has a lot of people who are looking for cash flow, and he kind of flips them to them. So even in his flipper business, he's a cash flow investor. But I'm also helping him to do a flip in Philly, a big flip in Philly. So he's a flipper by nature. He loves to stay liquid. And there are some people out there like that who are just flippers. I identify with both flippers and holders these days, because the flippers, what drives the flippers is the love of the game. They just love the real estate. The ones that are successful, at least, because they make a lot of money. It's not about the money. It becomes about just the love of the game. And I identify with people who love real estate. We share that in common. So whether you're holding it or flipping it, they're in it, and they're going to be in it until they're drop dead. It's like, I don't even want to do anything else. I don't want to watch TV. I just don't want to. I just want to do more real estate. So that's what I would say. Cincinnati's probably easier, lower to the ground. I really like Cincinnati. I know a lot of people from Cincinnati. I think it's up and coming. There's a lot of good stuff there. What's your take on real estate investing in Virginia? Lee Lewis. Virginia, I would flip. Now I know they have some good opportunities in like Hampton and like, there's some beach areas and stuff like that. There's some good opportunities there, right? But in general, like Northern Virginia is very expensive market. And there's definitely going to be some wholesale deals there and about. And if you build the crew there are going to be some opportunities to pull that crew into rural Maryland, where there's also going to be some flip opportunities. So I'm all into that whole DMV down there. I'm not down there. I'm like, you're a DMV investor. If you want to hold, go to Baltimore, or go to the outskirts of Baltimore, or go to parts of Maryland where you can cash flow. If you want to flip, there are going to be parts of Maryland where you can flip. There are going to be parts of Virginia where you can flip. There's going to be some DC where you can flip. So you kind of get into that whole DMV vibe. I'm going to analyze all of it. And you're going to start seeing value shifting from Virginia to DC to Maryland to Baltimore. And you just want to be able to catch those waves. But if I'm purely Virginia, I'm probably thinking flip. I'm probably thinking Northern Virginia. That's what I'm thinking. Wave God Todd. I like that name. It's fun. It's fun to say. Wave God Todd. Will I have access to the boot camp recording if I miss the live tomorrow? There will be a recording. We will send it out to the people. We will send it out. So we'll make sure you get the value. Because the boot camps they're also custom. Like one boot camp from the next boot camp, it could be completely different. There are going to be some similarities to it, of course, but I'm doing the training for you guys. So there are times where I take a poll and I'm like, what do you guys want to learn? Let me know. We take a poll. We design everything for you guys because it ain't about me. This is about you guys. If it was just about me, you wouldn't even be seeing me, quite frankly. Why even waste the time? I just go do more deals myself. I already have the teams to cruise it. It's about you. So we'll definitely make sure that that's available to you. So guys, you guys kept me on longer than I anticipated because I had to go on some rants because you guys are just bringing it out of me. But I hope it helped. I truly do. For those who are rocking with me on the boot camp, be excited. Definitely show up on time. Bring your questions. Bring your A game. Like really focus in because this isn't like just some nonsense thing. Like I'm gonna give you guys some background and stuff, so you get to know us a little bit better. But we really dive in. Like I'm gonna give you guys the fundamentals because I'm tired of the fear stuff. So I'm gonna give you the fundamentals to push past these obstacles, these things that have been holding you back. Once you have the fundamentals and you understand how to find value anywhere in the country, like I do, you're going to be able to accelerate, and then you'll decide what you want to do with it from there. If you want to, walk the path alone, if you, need help, or if you want to tap into the community, you guys can always tap into the 24/7 cash flow community. Click the link in bio, click the link in the description. It's $27 to join. The boot camp is only $7, $7 for the 2-day boot camp. But if you want to tap into the 24/7 cash flow community, it's $27 to join. Keeps out tire kickers, which trust me, you guys will appreciate when you do join because you'll post something, people will actually respond, people are encouraging you, people are there, and you're like, damn, there's actually a little community here. And having a real estate community is important. We have lenders, we have private lenders, we have DSCR lenders, we have architects, engineers, contractors, just lots of different relationships that are out there, mortgage brokers. So definitely lock in. The boot camp is 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 9 p.m. Lee Lewis says, I am looking forward to the boot camp. So guys, I hope that helped. We've answered a lot of questions. If you have more questions, reach out, DM me. Keep your head in the game. Stop watching too much news. Don't watch the news until you have your philosophy tight. Brian Grimes, your real estate mentor. I'll see you guys on the next one.